Welcome to Sisterly Sundays podcast, where faith, motivation, and sisterly love intertwine to empower women on their spiritual journey. Join us each week as we delve into heartfelt conversations and share inspirational stories that uplift and guide you through the challenges of life. I'm your host, Dr. Sheniqua Johnson, aka Sheniqua Inspires. Let's get into this week's message. Welcome to Sisterly Sundays podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Sheniqua Johnson, aka Sheniqua Inspires, bringing you your dose of motivation and encouragement to get you through the week. Today's podcast is presented by Stronger Through Faith Media, helping you get your message to millions. Let's get into this week's message entitled Fighting for Your Life. Another weekend agenda filled with movies to help to ease the mind from the week's work. This time, I decided to watch Creed 3 for the second time. I remember when this movie first released, I had binge watched Creed and Creed 2 the night before my early morning flight to Texas. I was en route to receive the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. And of course, I needed a celebratory treat. Me and my sister friend, who was also being awarded, decided we were going to check out Creed 3 in the theaters. I loved it the first time. I loved everything about it. But you know what? I loved it the second time for different reasons. Now, I might be biased, but in my opinion, Michael B. Jordan makes it easy for us to love this movie. Who doesn't love a good comeback kid story? I loved all of the acting in this movie, especially Jonathan Majors, who had me totally convinced that he was a bad guy. Even watching this movie for the second time, my stomach was in knots from his villainous character, which made me root for Michael B. all the more. There were a few lines that really drew me in, but today I don't want to focus on a quote. I want to focus on the ongoing theme, which is being alone. Being alone has its highs and its lows. For those of you not familiar with the storyline of this movie, Creed piggybacks off of the Rocky movies, with one of Rocky's major opponents turned friend, Apollo Creed. Adonis Creed is the son of Apollo Creed, who was birthed as a result of an affair. So his daddy was married to somebody else and had an affair with his mama, and here comes Adonis. One can only imagine the plight of a young child born to a mistress and left on the outskirts of his father's life. After the death of his biological mother, Adonis is then placed in shelters and group homes. He later gets adopted by his father's wife, who raises him as her own. During Creed 3, we pick up the subliminals that Adonis's life as the bonus child wasn't easily accepted by the other born in wedlock children. Imagine this. At the group home, Adonis had to fight to survive. He had to fight for his place in the minds of all of the other children that were there. Then he gets adopted. Now he has to fight to be accepted. He has to fight to be seen. Then he becomes a boxer, and he has to fight to break free from his father's legacy, the shadows of his father being a boxer as well. He felt he had to fight to prove he was worthy, that he didn't just get the position, that he didn't just get the rankings because of his father. How many of you have ever felt like you had to fight for your life? Fight to be seen in your field. Fight to be loved. Fight to be selected. Fight to be heard. Fight to be considered worthy. We are all fighting something. That's why kindness and understanding is needed. Apollo's wife, that's Adonis's father, Apollo's wife did just that. In spite of how she may have felt about her husband's infidelity, she embraced Adonis with her whole heart. She embraced him through his fears. She supported him in his battles of abandonment. And through that, she won a victory of her own. So this angry young man comes into her home. She brings him in, and he's dealing with abandonment because, again, I'm going deep into the mind of this character. It's not really stated in the movie, but I was looking at it from the lens, from a different lens, a deeper lens, where he is struggling with these battles because it wasn't his father who was now bringing him into the home. His father is dead and gone. It's the wife of his father who is extending like into an olive branch. And through her accepting Adonis, she finds a healing. She finds a closure that she probably never knew she needed. By choosing love, patience, kindness, she gained the freedom to forgive. This was such a big message in this movie, but it got whispered over while she was on her deathbed. She found the freedom to forgive simply by loving Adonis through all of his fears, through all of his insecurities, through all of everything that this young man was battling. Apollo's wife was able to find her freedom. Love indeed covers a multitude of sin, and it helps you to win battles you may not even realize you are facing. Many of us are bearing scars that we don't even realize we have. It's not until we get splashed with water. It's not until we get put in the fire. Now we know the wound exists. We see it begin to unfold. But love can heal that. For the greater part of the movie, in the greater part of Adonis's young life, he fought a battle to be accepted, a battle to be accepted in the group home, a battle to be accepted in a family, a battle to be accepted in his own career. Then we meet Damien. That's Jonathan Major's character. Damien faces the same struggles as Adonis does, but he never found his healing. He never found a safe space. So he reserved his life to fighting forever. I don't know about you, but fighting is tiring. I don't desire to fight all my life. I am a believer that God will deliver sweatless victories. I don't want to fight for a position. I don't want to fight for my place at work. I don't want to fight for my standing in the marketplace as an entrepreneur. I'm tired of fighting. But here's the part of the movie I love the most. When it was time for Adonis and Dame to fight, they were going pound for pound, round for round, with the roars of the audience egging them on. But for a moment, we enter the silent heart and mind of the boxers. The outside world grows silent, and it's just Adonis and his internal struggles. He's battling his guilt from running away from a scary situation in his youth. He's battling the shame of success because he allowed Dame to make him feel shameful for being a success. Because he spent so many years in solitude, he then projects that onto Adonis, who now becomes shame. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt ashamed of your success? You may have allowed people, even in your own family, to convince you that you should not be a success. You should simply be working hard, keeping your nose clean, and staying the course like everybody else in the family. How dare you have a happy marriage now, the way you used to run through men? How dare you be a successful author when you used to be the first one to hold a secret? How dare you be out here motivating and inspiring others when there were days you couldn't even get up out of the bed due to your depression? How dare you? You are fighting for your life. Every day is a struggle to defeat the shame, guilt, sadness, that negative self-talk. Every day you wake up trying to prove you are worthy of the title as you punch imposter syndrome in the face. But here's what I noticed during the scene in Creed 3. It was Adonis fighting Adonis. It was all of the things he feared, everything that was going on in his mind that was causing this major fight in his life. I think we all can relate at some point in time to the fight of our lives being between us and us. The world don't have nothing to do with it. Dame ain't got nothing to do with it. What he's doing now is battling the inner thoughts. There has to come a point in your life where you got to commit to getting back in the ring one more time. One more time so that you can reign as the undefeated champion once again and retire from the fighting once and for all. There must come a time in our lives where we have to face the fear, the stigma, the societal wounds. We must fight them one more time to silence them forever. no longer being triggered by the past, present, or future. It's time to fight one last time and prove that you are worthy to be loved, worthy to be celebrated, worthy of success, worthy of the peace, worthy of security, worthy of the fame, worthy of the pay, worthy of the accolades. It's time to show fear that faith is boss. You will win this fight of your life if you remember who it is you are fighting. Before I go, let me leave you with this scripture that you can use in your fight for your life. And it comes from Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. And I'm going to read to you from the New Living Translation. For we are not fighting against flesh and blood enemies, but against evil rulers and authorities of the unseen world, against mighty powers in this dark world, and against evil spirits in the heavenly places. Now that you know who you're fighting, it's time to fight for your life. Be blessed. Are you loving this week's segment of Sisterly Sundays podcast? If so, subscribe and share this message with those who could use a little encouragement to get them through the week. Connect with me on all social media platforms at Sheniqua Inspires. The encouragement continues every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my podcast, The Black Girl Encourage Her. You know, the place where we are delivering the encouragement for everyone. We just so happen to do it from a Black girl's perspective. You can catch those episodes on my YouTube channel, Sheniqua Inspires. And don't forget to subscribe and share.